Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Short-Term Rentals with the amazing Tijani. Thank you so much for coming
good?
today.
Welcome to another episode.
And we're super excited for this one because today we're going to talk about the top skills to be the best host.
Yeah.
So first of all, what about communication skills? How often do you communicate with your guests?
Yeah. So communication is one of the most crucial things that you can do in your business. And you should be very, very, very attentive with communication, very intentional as well. One thing that you can do, I highly recommend, even at the beginning of your journey, when you start this business, communication is one of the first things you should handle, because these OTAs, they rank you based on your response rate. And so if your response rate is low, that affects your SEO search. And one of the best ways to make sure that you stay at 100% is to have an automated communication system. Introduce that even at the very beginning of your journey. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep your response rate from the beginning. Even as you scale your business, you keep adding the properties and your response will stay at 100%. Matter of fact, your response rate actually needs to be 100% to be a super host.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so communication is key. And on the other side, what it does when you're able to respond quickly to a guest, they are now, they're grateful for that. Like, they're great, because believe it or not, a lot of hosts don't respond that quick.
Oh, no.
No, they don't. And so now, if you're able to set yourself apart by saying, hey, I'm going to prioritize communication. So this is why we love having the automated messages, but then we introduce our virtual assistants to handle all the questions in between. And we have 24-hour coverage when it comes to that. So we keep our response rate at 100%. Not only that, but we keep our guests happy because we respond to them very quickly. And they like that. And they're going to want to, because to them, if you respond quick, that means that you're very attentive. And they know that if they have any issues, they know that they can come to you. And so being a host that cares like that, they really, really value that. And so guests tend to want to leave great reviews, tend to refer people back to you, just because you are intentional with your communication. So it's one of the more important key factors, especially even in the beginning of your journey, for sure.
And I feel like in the case of communication, it also allows your guests to see you more as a human instead of just like a computer. Because despite you're using automated tools to get these communications going, you do have that interest in knowing what your guest is looking for.
I call it the common touch. And because it's actually, those triggers, those automated message, there are messages that get sent out one time based on a trigger. So like, say somebody sends a question, that comes in as an inquiry. So then an automated message goes out, so that, hey, thank you so much for your inquiry. We will definitely get back with you within the hour. This is an automated message. Like, we let them know, right? And then we respond. My virtual assistant then answers the question on a personal level. And it's interesting because when you start this business, your business will feel very like mom and pop, like small business, family oriented. Your messages will be very customized based to your guests. And then you'll notice that as you scale this business, then your business becomes more and more automated, because now you're bringing in VAs. Now you're ramping up that, and your VAs are going to be trained. And a lot of the messages that they send out are going to be very consistent. So your company kind of becomes more, you kind of start losing that family feel as you scale the business. And that just kind of comes with it, right? But all you can do is do your best to keep that common touch, because honestly, that's what sets us apart from like a hotel. It's because Airbnb in this short-term rental game, like, it feels like you're ingrained in the community. Like, it's a more personal experience than a more corporate-y business type experience. So you want to try to keep that common touch as much as possible. It's just more challenging as you scale the business.
But of course, there's always tools and technology that can help you achieve that. That's awesome. And now there's also another of the characteristics, which is to be proactive. So what are some of the things that you do beforehand to make sure that you improve the experience of your guests?
It's interesting when you talk about guest experience, a lot of people immediately correlate that to, okay, the experience that the guest is going to have at your property, or maybe you have like this cool little adventure for them or whatnot. But the guest experience actually starts right at your listing, right? What are they experiencing once they click it? So you have to say, okay, is your messaging concise? Are your photos actually spelling out everything? Are you showing everything in your listing? Because that's going to speak to their experience as well. And then what happens when they actually check in the property? That check-in process, the experience starts for the guest. Once they start looking at your listing, it gets more defined. The process, when they book it, then they want to go check in. What was that experience like? that check-in process was it smooth? Did they have to call you to find out which way to go? Were they confused? Were your check-in instructions confusing? Were they too wordy? Were they not concise enough? If we even feel like our check-in process it's not simple enough for a 5-year-old to follow, then we'll include like instructional videos, like videos of us actually walking through, showing them exactly what to do. Okay, this is where you're gonna come in, you're gonna put this keypad in here, walk through this hallway. Like we show them through the video to make it as simple as possible, because we know that speaks heavily into the experience. And so then the main thing is, okay, now that they checked in, now they're there, what is that experience like? Of course, that is the main experience that they're going to use to weigh heavily in terms of what kind of review that they're going to give you. But it started a while ago. But now that experience, how easy is it for them to stay there? And what I mean by that is, do they have to call you for stuff that may seem confusing? Is your thermostat on your wall too confusing? And they have to call you, well, how do you work this thermostat? If they got to call you for that, understand that decreases the experience. Is your remote to your TV? Is that too complicated? Right? If they have to call you, well, I can't find the volume. How do I go to this? Or how do I go to cable? How can I watch Netflix? If they have to call you to ask you that diminishes their experience. So you want not only your listing to be very concise messaging throughout the check-in process, and make sure your listing is actually like dang near dummy proof. Like you want people to have a very easy time at your listing, and that's going to speak heavily into that experience. So if you actually, as a host, if you process it this way and understand that the experience doesn't just start at the listing itself, it starts at the very beginning, you will make sure that your 5-star reviews are like you'll get as many 5-star reviews as possible for you.
That's right. Yeah. And it's interesting how you mentioned about that little video guiding through the property, because I know that not all the properties are the same. And so the people that are hearing us on the audience, they may have this random property that they are like, man, it's in a really great location, but it's so tricky to get access through it. Yeah, but if it's still on a good location, all you need to do in that case would be just to make sure that you have a really good video for people to follow and enter into that amazing property that
Absolutely.
You've got. And also you mentioned improving the experience of the person when they were inside of the property. So what are some of the amenities that you would recommend someone to invest on that are not super crazy, such as like building a pool, but what are some of the like tiny little amenities that we could provide our guests?
Well, for one thing, I would tell every host that's hearing me right now, understand that I recommend you, because Airbnb recently, as of this year, in 2022, they recently changed a lot of the way our guests are booking their units. So, and one of the other changes that they made is to the amenities. Like they added more amenities on their actual site. So every host out there, go on every single one of your listings and update your amenities. Go in and say, oh, they added this. Oh, I have that. Let me check this off. I have that. Let me check this off. They updated their amenities directly on their site. So go in there and check your amenities, update that. But outside of that, update your amenities list. You want to have as many amenities as possible that won't be that crazy, right? Of course, maybe you'll not be able to build a pool, right? You may not be able to add a putt-putt behind your in your backyard or whatnot. Maybe you don't have a backyard to do that, but things like that matter. Like you can have one of those, any amenities that you can think of that will speak to their experience. One of those beanbag throw things that people like to do. Like if you have enough space in the backyard, include like one of the things that we're doing was one of our spaces, like a little fire pit, right? Where people can just kind of gather around and have conversation. And we make the ambiance dope. We got the string lights. It's a dope ambiance, plants. And so, you know, there are things that you can do that aren't that cost effective. Even that wasn't that expensive, right? I spent a few $100s, maybe $1,000 like at the most to set that up. You know what I mean? So, and it pales in comparison to how much more money it's going to make you, right? If you serve families, because understand a lot of your amenities will depend on who you're serving as well. If you serve families, it'd be a great idea to have a pack and play, have a high chair. If you're in a place where the walk score is pretty high, have a stroller to where people can put their toddlers in and take a walk around. If you have a space to where you're close to one of those bike rental places, right? Add that to your amenities, like, hey, you can go rent a bike here. There's have a partnership with them. Exactly, it's a bike rack. Right. And so, hey, we have a partnership with them. You can take 25% off the rides. It's a few dollars, and like things like that, experiences like that. Like one of our listings we have a bunch of listings in one kind of location where I like to purchase all my duplexes. And what's cool is that they built like this park. It's a brand new park that they built, and they have a gym inside. And so I went in there and I said, hey, we have a lot of listings in this area. What would it take for my guests to be able to come work out here for free, right? And they said that, well, this is a park. The gym is actually available for the community. They said they created me a special link. And they said, send this link to your guests. They just have to fill out this form. We'll send them like access and they can come work out during their stay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right, so now I essentially have a gym now, right?
That's right, and you didn't even have to build it.
I didn't even have to really pay for it or build it, right? So a lot of times it may require you to think a little bit outside the box, right? And so now we took nice gym photos. We took photos of the gym and the equipment. We added it to our photo reels. We let them know like, hey, you can go work out at just a few blocks away. And so thinking about things like that, think about who you're serving, what they would need while they're there. And that's going to answer a lot of that question of what kind of amenities that you can have. Pack in as many amenities as you can.
And it definitely makes you be prepared ahead of time. And speaking about preparation, what about when you're managing a certain property and you are not there because you're living in another state or another city? What team would you recommend someone to have? What team players should we be looking for?
So I like to let people know that your team is divided up into your field team and your technology team. In this short-term rental game, you have your boots on the ground people, that's your field team, and your technology team. As you can imagine, if you're gonna manage a property outside your state or not in your particular marketplace, you want your field team. That's gonna be the most crucial part. You want a good team. My recommendation for folks who wanna manage properties outside of the marketplace, build relationships with other hosts that are in that marketplace. Join that Facebook group that's in that marketplace that you're gonna be in. Can you do this business outside of your marketplace and be very successful? Absolutely, yes. I have friends, I know people, I have students that don't have any units in their city. They have units all outside their city. And they do very, very well. What's important is your cleaner, right? You want to have maintenance there that can handle all the maintenance issues, right? As you scale, you're going to probably have like a manager there or a runner there, depending on how many units that you have there, that you can pay a decent salary to just essentially be you out there, right? So there are ways that you can be in the different markets and still be very successful. We are expanding to different markets right now. We're actually really looking forward to it. And I highly recommend start building networks, start expanding your network in that particular marketplace. And that way you can get the best referrals for the best cleaners. You can get the best referrals for the best maintenance person. You get the best referrals for your boots on the ground team. And because your tech team essentially, they're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. So it's really a field team that you need to get down pat.
That's right. And it's amazing how you mentioned about the field team, because I personally own a couple of properties in Cusco, Peru. So I'm already in the States. So it's kind of hard to manage that from here. And at the beginning, I thought, man, maybe I should just get regular renters. You know? Why do in short term? There's no way that I can make it. But after looking at a few of your videos like on Instagram, I thought, you know what, like there's a possibility to do it. So I ended up reaching out to friends and family that I had in the area. And I was like, you guys are going to be my field trip, my field team. You guys are going to take care of the property. If somebody has to check in and doesn't have their keys or whatever, you guys go there. I'm going to pay you a certain amount, but you guys are the ones that are going to represent me and give the experience that the guest actually needs.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it is totally like super possible. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on that actually. And now also, I know that you have multiple listings. Like so many. How do you make it to staying organized with all of those many listings?
Oh, that's where the tech team comes in at, right? So the tech team comes in and keep us all the way together. The tech team essentially these are the systems and the technology software that you use to make sure everybody's married together. Everybody's communicating with each other. Just one big happy marriage. Everybody's happy. Everybody in the marriage is happy, right? So, and the tech team is, you like your channel manager. This is where you can centralize and localize all your listings into one channel manager. With the right channel manager, you can literally manage all your listings from that one channel manager from all the multiple sites. Because it's not just how many listings you have, how many sites are you on? Because now say you have 10 listings, you're looking at managing 10 listings on the Airbnb. Those 10 listings are also on VRBO. They're also on booking.com. You want to make sure that those counters are succinct. That's where your tech team comes in at. Also, we keep organized. The part that you really, really make sure that you dial in on the organization is your cleaning process, right? The turnover process, right? When I first started, cleaners would go clean, and they would clean. They said, okay, cleaning's done. We'll get a text message, and that was pretty much be it, right? And honestly, we don't necessarily like have legit like eyes. There was no quality control inspection going on behind it. There was no proof of photos to see make sure it was done right. Like, so a lot of things were missed, but now we have systems in place due to technology to where we say, okay, we know exactly when a cleaner arrives. We know as soon as the cleaning is done, we have proof of photography, right, to see that it was done properly. And then we know exactly when they left, right? So that process as well, you want to make sure that you keep organized, because once you have multiple listings, you're going to have multiple cleanings in one day. You have multiple, and so you want to make sure that everything's being done, and that way you're not missing any cleanings as well. I recommend having like even multiple layers of ways to know that you're not going to miss any cleanings, right? Because for one, as soon as somebody books our unit, we already know when they're checking in and when they're checking out. That checkout date, that is automatically sent to our cleaners. That goes to our PMS software. The booking comes in, everybody gets notified, hey, we got a new booking. Cleaners, it automatically goes in through Turnover B&B, which is our cleaning software. That goes in there. They are well aware, and so it automatically gets on their calendar through Turnover, which is where we manage them. Then they put the cleaning on their own personal calendar. Every day at 5 a.m., we send out all the cleanings that are happening that day.
Oh, wow.
So to make sure that, okay, on our platform, the cleanings that we have matches the email that you're gonna get with all the cleanings. So if there's a discrepancy, like, hey, this listing,
we're missing one.
We're missing one. This one's on here, but I don't see it on here. Are we cleaning it? Are we gonna?
Double checking, triple checking,
triple checking. We have multiple layers to make sure we're not missing that clean. But I'm here to tell you right now, if you miss a clean and your guest checks in,
oh no.
I'm speaking from experience.
Oh wow.
It's one of the worst things that can happen in your business.
Gotcha.
It's one of those, you have to make it up to them so much, because and you can imagine the inconvenience that you'll cause that team. Imagine if they've been traveling for so long, they're ready to just put their stuff down and just relax, and now the unit's not even clean.
They cannot even do that.
They can't even do that. And so the inconvenience that you cause that guest is very likely got to give them a full refund. You have to go above and beyond, try to get them somewhere else to stay, or get it cleaned as fast as humanly possible. So yeah, you want to get that cleaning process dialed in for sure.
That's right. And it all comes down to having a system.
Yes.
Because you always mention that if we want to scale truly like on short-term rentals, you do need to have a system. 100%. It's not like you can be renting whatever room whenever you want. So tell us more about your system. How do you make it to organize your time also when it comes to managing your short-term rental properties?
So I'll tell people what my org chart looks like, obviously. So I'll just give y'all my org chart to see how our systems in play. So remember, there's field team and your tech team. And so for me, you have me, of course, then you have our general manager, and then under her, you have two virtual assistants, and then you have our 2 cleaning teams, and then we have our 1 maintenance person who's on retainer, and then everything else is technology. And so everybody's in this marriage. Everybody's in this connecting. Everybody talks to each other, and so that's literally how our entire org chart is stacked up.
That's right. And I feel like having that trust with your team and knowing that they're always going to be responsive to whatever requests that the guests are having with you, that's just amazing. It's 100%. I guess that makes you sleep well at night.
Oh, yes.
Knowing that your properties are well taken care of.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, TJ. And any last tips for us to become the best host possible?
Well, I'll say this. Understand that, I'll give you a tip. Understand that not all money is good money. Okay? Not all money is good money. I told a story, and I tell this story all the time. So you might have heard it before, but I remember this was May 2018, and I was only 1 day away from being 100% booked, 100% occupied. And somebody booked it, and they said, oh, we're coming in. We just need a place to stay for the night. I need to go into the campus at University of Houston, because this was downtown Houston, Texas, a 1-bedroom apartment in a newly built apartment complex. The apartment was just built 2 years ago prior to that date. So it was really nice. And so they checked in, and next thing you know, I get a call from the concierge that's there at the apartment. He said, well, TJ, I don't know what's going on in your unit, but it's some craziness going on right now. I said, what? So then I go to my Ring camera, and I look at my camera, and I realize it's black. And I thought it wasn't working. I said, man, right when I needed not to work. Then I saw that it was still, the red dot was still going. then it hit me quickly like, oh wow, they covered up the camera.
Oh no, that's not a good sign.
As soon as I saw it, now it's like midnight.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I saw that, I hopped up and I told the concierge, he said, do you want me to go in there right now? I said, wait on me, we'll go together. And so I drove there, and then we went up there, the sea of people in the hallway. It was so many people.
Oh my goodness.
Just in the hallway, blasting music, just partying.
Oh, no.
All because I wanted this one booking. I immediately, I almost just I threw away all my barriers that my screening process. I barely asked the right questions. I just wanted to be 100% booked. So I took the chance. And it was the worst decision ever.
That's right.
So understand that, being 100% booked, wanting that extra, not all money is good money. Not all money is good money at all. And we had to kick him out. It was a whole thing, of course, but that was an experience, and I learned a lot with that experience, right? So I would say make sure that your screening process is down pat, right? Have a process to where, hey, you're screening your guests, and ask the right questions. And other than that, remember, I'm gonna keep reiterating it. Just because they're willing to pay you, don't mean it's worth it. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much again, TJ. And thank you to our audience for staying tuned to this episode.
Appreciate you.
So go ahead and start your short-term rental business, because now you have the top tips to become the best host ever. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.